Hey, what's going on? This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And let me make you think about something for a second. Your kicker is lining up for an onside kick. The chances of regaining possession are slim, the stakes are high, and the tension is higher. Your pulse is racing. He kicks, and you watch as the ball lands. Make every play feel this exciting with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and their unbeatable offers. Right now, new customers can make any $5 NFL bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings step-up same-game parlays. For example, the Saints' big matchup on Thursday night headed to the Big Toaster against the Arizona Cardinals. To make things even sweeter, you can throw down a step-up same-game parlay once per game all season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code SOTS to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place a $5 bet on any football game only at DraftKings Sportsbook using the promo code SOTS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. If you know someone that's dealing with a gambling problem crisis, counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You have to be 21 years of age, physically present in Louisiana. Only $200 in free bets, new customers only, a minimum $5 deposit, a minimum $5 bet, $200 is issued as 8 $25 free bets, must win step-up same-game parlay, 1 token issued per eligible game. Opt-in required, minimum $1 bet. Max bet limits apply, minimum 3 legs each, leg minimum. Minus 300 odds, total bets plus 100 odds or longer. It ends 1/8/23 at 8 p.m. See eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. So come on up in here. Shouts out to everybody in the chat, everybody that's listening at home, rather in your car. I don't care where you at, okay? It is game time. It is Thursday night football. It is the Saints versus the Arizona Cardinals. The New Orleans Saints head out to the Big Toaster, to State Farm Stadium, to take on the Arizona Cardinals. And, you know, since that game this past Sunday, I think that we all can be in agreement that we want to get that nasty taste out of our mouth. That game that was so close, a game that the Saints should have won, and only for us to have heartbreak yet again following this New Orleans Saints team. But Thursday night, tonight, the Saints have an opportunity to right the wrongs of Sunday in order to and come out with a victory versus the Arizona Cardinals. Now, let's go ahead and set up some of the storylines here, Saints versus Cardinals. What you have are two teams that are 2-4. Really, this is do or die for both teams. The Arizona Cardinals are 0-8. They have not won a home game in 8 tries. And then you also have Andy Dalton, who has a really bad record of 0-11 in primetime games, right? So what you have is the first Kirk Cousins, right, in the form of Andy Dalton. So these two teams right here are trying to shake off some nerves. They're trying to eliminate some wrongdoings that had taken place. Andy Dalton, as well as the Arizona Cardinals, losing 8 straight games at home. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. I want people to understand this. The Arizona Cardinals are not as bad as people think that they are, and they're only going to get better because now they have star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins coming off suspension after serving 6 games for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. Now he's back in the lineup. And not to mention, they picked up Robbie Anderson from the Carolina Panthers. We all seen that little little exchange on the sideline for the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. He was traded on Monday, and now he has a new home. And according to the Arizona Cardinals media team, as well as Cliff Kingsbury, their head coach, Robbie Anderson will be involved in this game, and so will DeAndre Hopkins. But not all is lost for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints got a little bit of backup. We finally get opportunity to see rookie cornerback Alontae Taylor in the game. The Saints activated him from IR, so he will be playing on tonight. The Saints also waived wide receiver Keith Kirkwood, and they brought up Chris Harris Jr. and Kevin White for this game. So the Saints making some moves, the Arizona Cardinals making some moves, and what you have right now, once again, is 2 desperate teams trying to find ways to win. I cannot stress this enough, Who Dat Nation. I cannot stress this enough. I'm just be 100% honest with each and every one of you. If the Saints lose this game, they're not making the playoffs. It's just that simple. If you lose this game tonight, you're not making the playoffs. Now, somebody will say, man, TJ, you overreacting, based on what the NFC South looking like. Nah, when you look at the games that the Saints have lost to those NFC opponents, now, be that as it may, they lost 2 games within their division, and they get an opportunity to actually right those wrongs later on in the year. But still, you lost to the Minnesota Vikings, right? And you lose again, to the Arizona Cardinals. So let's just say, for example, if the Arizona Cardinals start to get a little hotter, they're fighting for their playoff life. Well, guess what? If the Saints are in a tiebreaker somehow with the Arizona Cardinals at the end of the season, guess what? They're not making the playoffs, right? If Green Bay finds a way to win the division, even though Minnesota has only lost 1 game, and they come back, guess what? The Minnesota Vikings win the tiebreaker over the New Orleans Saints. So the best case scenario here is for you to win this game. The best thing about it all is the Saints still control their own destiny. They play in a really weak division this season, and they have an opportunity to go out here and win. All right. I look at the tail of the tape when it comes to the teams. I got the numbers right here. The Saints are averaging 23.5 points per game. The Arizona Cardinals are averaging 19 points allowed per game. The Saints are allowing 26.3. The Arizona Cardinals 23.7. Total yards per game. The Saints we'll round this off to about 400 yards a game. The Arizona Cardinals at 365. Yards passing 246 to 245 is pretty even there. Yards rushing 151 for the Saints, 119 for Arizona. Yards allowed 359 for the Saints, 352.8 for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I want people to understand this. You're probably looking at some of those yards and you probably think to yourself, man, the Saints can eat all day, all night. But here's the reality. The Arizona Cardinals had to play the Kansas City Chiefs, and they put up about 40 points on them. So a lot of the numbers and the yards are basically outliers, right? That's just basically what it is. It's not the fact that they have been allowing these amount of yards each game. As a matter of fact, they've been playing pretty well on defense. They have had issues when it comes to the pass rush. They haven't been able to get home with a pass rush, but I mean, you have J.J. Watt. I think he has about 2.5 sacks. You have Zaven Collins. He also has 2 sacks. So you have some young guys out there as well as J.J. Watt getting home. So they're not world beaters or anything like that. They still struggle when it comes to the pass rush. But we all know that for some apparent reason, no matter if a team has been struggling with anything, they play against the New Orleans Saints, and then all of a sudden, like, they become the second coming of Reggie White, or they become the second coming of Barry Sanders if they're running back, or they become the second coming of Jerry Rice if they're a wide receiver. Right. So we know those numbers mean absolutely nothing. So if you look at those numbers and feel like the New Orleans Saints offense is just going to be able to dominate, you're sadly mistaken. Okay. This team only allowed a really good Seattle Seahawks team only 19 points on last game. So that's a really good defense, even though the numbers may not indicate that. What the New Orleans Saints have to do in order for them to win? Well, look, if you look at the last couple of weeks, the Saints have went over 200 yards rushing. The Saints are ranked in the top 10 when it comes to offense, right? Regardless to how they're getting it. Rather, they're getting it because it's garbage time and the defense of other teams are playing pretty soft. However you want to slice it, cut it, divide it, and give it to somebody, the reality is the New Orleans Saints are capable of putting up some numbers offensively. Running the football has been the key. You might have a little bit of issues coming into this game. Andrews Pete will not be playing in this game, and I know some people may have their reservation about Andrews Pete, but when it comes to the Saints actually running the football, Andrews Pete is one of the best guards when it comes to run blocking. So him being out is going to be huge. I think Lewis Kidd, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be taking his place. But you can tell, like when Andrews Pete went out in the second half, the Saints kind of struggled a little bit at running the ball against the Cincinnati Bengals, even though they had a lot of success in the first half. So establishing a run is going to be key, and also being able to utilize Taysom Hill. In the second half, you really didn't utilize Taysom Hill that much. I think it had a lot to do with Adam Troutman and him being that lead blocker and setting up some things. Him being out and dealing with that injury, I think it kind of affected some of the plays that the Saints wanted to utilize in the game. So I think they need to utilize Taysom Hill and also utilize Alvin Kamara in the running game as well as the passing game. As far as the wide receiver room, you got Chris Olave coming back. He cleared concussion protocol, which is a really, really big deal, right? Chris Olave is leading all rookies in receiving yards, and he's on a pace to be the offensive rookie of the year if he continues to play the way that he does and he avoids injury. So having Chris Olave back is absolutely huge. You need a little bit more production from these wide receivers. They need to be able to, be able to make up and also be able to keep that same momentum they had this past Sunday. I mean, you've seen Traquan Smith making some really tough catches. You've seen Marquez Callaway out there making some tough catches. These guys got to be able to sustain drives, and they got to be able to get third down conversions. And also, you have to be able to score in the red zone. The Saints had 5 trips to the red zone this past Sunday versus the Cincinnati Bengals and only came away with 1 touchdown, and that was in the first quarter off a turnover that was on special teams. The Saints have got to find ways to get in the end zone and not be trading off end zone opportunities with field goals. So, okay, it's good that Will Lutz seems to be back to the Will Lutz that we need. That's fine and dandy. I think that's probably the best thing out of all of this is Will Lutz is kicking pretty well. The fact that he made 4 straight field goals in order for the Saints to sustain the lead throughout the game until the very end. But you have to be able to punch it into the end zone. All right. Another thing, the coaching staff of the New Orleans Saints have got to be more aggressive than they have been in weeks past. Okay, conservative play can sometimes work, but it cannot be your calling card. You cannot have the reputation of being a conservative football team. You got to make plays. You got to call plays in order for these guys to be able to get fired up and believe what you're selling. Because I'm telling you right now, you go 2-5 and you're being conservative, and guys not feeling like you're not trusting us to be able to convert on 4th down or be able to get a 3rd down. You're calling plays and you're calling the game a little bit differently. It's going to be in the back of guys' minds, and that can cause dissension between the coaching staff as well as the players. So they got to be able to be aggressive. You're playing on the road. It's on a short week. It's not a division game, okay? So you got 2 teams that's not really familiar with each other. You got 2 teams that really didn't get at it at practice. It was a lot of walkthrough because you had to make sure that these guys were healthy, before the game even starts. You got to be able to go out here and you got to be able to control the time of possession. What some of the things that the Saints did against the Cincinnati Bengals need to be replicated in this game. Controlling the time of possession, the play calling, especially in the first half. You got to be able to keep that same energy and that same momentum going into the second half. All right. I would also like to see a few more plays that are designed for Rashid Shaheed. Okay. You're seeing him on the jet sweep. It turned into a 44-yard touchdown. Him and Andy Dalton weren't on the same page, but as y'all can see, he got behind Eli Apple. It probably was a play that they needed to go back to and circle around, maybe switch up the formation. I mean, I mentioned that on the last episode, but you have to find ways to get the ball into the hands of dynamic playmakers, okay? And this guy seems like he can be a spark. The biggest spark on this team right now offensively, you have to say, is Taysom Hill. So you have to be able to utilize Taysom Hill in this game. It can't be a little sprinkle of Taysom Hill and then a big bulk of it, and then we don't see him again. You have to utilize your playmakers. The Saints have got to win this football game because the secondary of the Arizona Cardinals is really good. They have some really formidable cornerbacks as well as safety. So the Saints have got to be able to take what the defense is giving them, and they got to be able to utilize the running game in order for them to be able to win this game. This one a tough one for me. I want to believe that at the beginning when I was doing the schedule, I had the Saints actually losing this game because I thought they would actually win against Cincinnati, and I'm not going to back away from that now. Look, until the New Orleans Saints actually show me that they can get out of their own way, until the New Orleans Saints show me that they can go out there and they can execute successfully and they cannot just constantly shoot themselves in the foot, I'm not changing any games that I felt that they were going to lose. I felt the Saints were going to lose this game at the beginning of the season, and I'm not going to change that. I got the Saints losing this football game here today. But hopefully, they be able to kind of weather the storm as guys come back. But you're going into a completely different time zone. You're not playing really well, when it comes to like defense. I don't know. This seemed like a game to me. Like you got DeAndre Hopkins coming back. I haven't seen anybody on the New Orleans Saints in the New Orleans Saints secondary to be able to stop number one wide receivers. I mean, Justin Jefferson went off. DK Metcalf scored a big touchdown. I mean, Jabbar Chase went off last week. It just seems like to me, like if you're a number one receiver, you might want to play the New Orleans Saints right now because you're guaranteed at least over 100 yards, especially the way the secondary is playing and the way that they've been tackling as of late. I want to put something on everybody's mind. All right. I want to put this on everybody's mind. The New Orleans Saints lead the league in big plays for the other team. All right. For 9 plays, the Saints have got 9 plays over 30 yards. All right. That's leading the NFL. So that means big plays. All right. Big splash plays. This is the type of stuff we've seen from the 2014, 2015 defense of the New Orleans Saints. So until the New Orleans Saints go out there and play a complete game, they go out there and not constantly shoot themselves in the foot, I can't pick them. So I got the Arizona Cardinals winning this game. It's going to be close in my opinion because, I mean, I don't see a team blowing out the Saints, even though, the Saints end up losing games, this season. They always been relatively close. I don't expect for anybody to be complaining about the play of this game like they have in the last couple of weeks about the quarterback play and the teams. I feel like both teams are going to be able to do some things to keep the game exciting. But I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to win this football game. I mean, I've seen this movie before, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, what they had Matt Rule, I think they lost like maybe 11 games in a row or something like that. And all of a sudden, here come the Saints. And that was the only game Matt Rule won until, he got fired. All right. Now you got the Arizona Cardinals 0-8 at home. You got the Saints on the schedule. I don't know, man. I cannot pick. I cannot pick the New Orleans Saints, especially since I didn't pick them. I don't think I picked them winning this game going into the season. So I'm going to stand by that. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments, and we'll go ahead and get started. The coaches' decisions are more of an indictment on their trust in the players. It's always condensed and conservative because they don't trust nobody. That's on coaching. I absolutely agree with that. That's what happens when you're coaching not to lose and not coaching to win. All right. That's when you're too afraid to go out there and take a risk because you're afraid about how you're going to look. I'm telling you, if the Saints went for it on 4th and 2 and they were still, in their own territory when they did it, I would not get mad. At least they're trying to be aggressive. There's nothing about this team that's aggressive. The defense don't look aggressive. The offense don't look aggressive. And it just seems like people are just out here, like basically just doing whatever, like what it might work. It might be a good play. It might be a touchdown. Like it's very little confidence to me that's coming off that sidelines. Smith is the cause of that interception. Red BB Gun needs to step up in the 4th quarter. No turnovers on offense. Well, yeah, I mean, that was a good thing, right? They didn't have any turnovers last game versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully they can replicate that. Give me this excuse. I know somebody got this answer is right. dumb move being made. Defense needs to make tackles. Yeah, I mean, I think they missed, if I'm not mistaken, between 12 to 15 tackles last game. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible, man. Let's see. Definitely can't keep kicking field goals all game, especially in the red zone. I have us losing too. Plus, they're more rested if we win. I'm not too hype about it. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, you know, like when you usually be excited about watching Saints football and you kind of know what to expect. I have to say, man, going into this game, and knowing that this game was going to happen on today, I was like, like, man, like I didn't feel like, I mean, I'm excited, because the Saints are playing, but I don't know, man. It's just something that just completely off this year. Like, and I don't know, man. It's like, why? I guess like the first couple games, like they play like didn't play too well, and then they end up losing some games, and I guess you kind of got that out your system, like they aren't who we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. So it's like it's whatever, at this particular point, and that's how I feel. Like it's whatever, like if they win, it's of course it's gonna be great. If they lose, it's like whatever. That's kind of how I feel. I mean, that's I honestly feel like that's where the morale of the Who Dat Nation is as of right now. Olave 85-yard touchdown on the first possession. I wouldn't be mad at that. Who's going to check Hopkins? That's a good question. If it's just Paulson Adebo, man, I tell you, man, Paulson Adebo has been getting absolutely worked. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's still dealing with the injury. I don't know if he's playing through it. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but to me, it just seemed like something is missing.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Seriously, man. Every time he hit the field, man, he getting cooked, posterized, and straight up smoked like brisket and burnt like a biscuit. And I just know he's better than that. He's a guy that can be a sure tackler. He has good size. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the fact that, like I said, maybe that ankle is still bothering him. Maybe he can't like run as fast as he possibly can because of the ankle is aggravating him. I don't know, but all the hype and everything that I heard and saw, coming out of Saints camp, him, basically being at some practices like the best cornerback on the field, and then you turn around and just see him out there just getting worked by everybody, right? The way that he was playing in training camp, you would think, okay, Lattimore hurt, okay, Paulson gonna be able to handle his business. But Paulson hasn't done nothing at all, right? And even, being able to get interceptions and stuff, like he had really good hands. Like coming into college, man, he was supposed to be a wide receiver. He switched over to cornerback. So you supposed to have some decent hands at least. Man, being able to get your hands on a football. I mean, you're seeing, him catching one-hand snags last year versus Atlanta, and now it's like you getting posterized and worked every week, man. I'm very disappointed at what I'm seeing out of Paulson Adebo, but I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's just out there trying to give it his all, but that ain't it, man. We need a better effort out of number 29. Hello, Who Dat Nation. Hope all is well. Have faith for our team. Who Dat? Look, Gail, I got hope, I got faith, but I'm a realist here. I give my opinion based on what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing right now, I'm not seeing fight. I'm not seeing aggression. Right. I'm just seeing a team that's trying not to lose. Right. I'm seeing running backs trying not to fumble. I'm seeing offensive players that we count on, trying not to make a mistake. Right. Not playing loose. Right. It's like watching somebody, like they're just trying to, tiptoe. I guess, just trying to tiptoe through the house and not creak the floors. That's kind of like what it's like. And I'm not too particularly excited about what I'm seeing from this team. And I would gladly be excited if they give us something to be excited about. I hope you are wrong, TJ. I hope I'm wrong too, Mom. I hope I am. I mean, like I said, it don't give me any pleasure to say that the Saints are going to lose, but I got to call it how I see it. Winning cures all, TJ. It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, but look, I would love to be wrong. There's nothing wrong. Like nothing would give me more pleasure to be wrong about this pick tonight. But this team has got to stop getting in his own way, man. Like for real. Like it's no Like it is what word? What am I trying to say? I mean, for us to get excited about this team, they got to give us something. They have got to give us something to be excited about. Like even if they win tonight, or do we feel confident that they're gonna go on the street? Are we confident that they're gonna be able to do some of these things? Like I don't know. I don't know. Like usually it's like okay, if they go on a little bit of a losing streak and then they win, it's like okay, man, maybe we can start something. But I'm not really seeing that. I'm not really seeing that. The Saints are so much better than what they record indicate. They got so much talent on this team that they shouldn't even be in this position. And when we find them in this position because of self-inflicted wounds, it's kind of hard for us to really just, well, I ain't gonna speak for y'all. It's hard for me to just sit up here and have this level of confidence in a team like I did in years past when they go through a little bit of some adversity. Like they got to show us that they can actually navigate through these uncharted waters. I mean, because that's just, man, it is not a good feeling cheering for this team, man, especially when they're so good. That's the most frustrating thing about it. Like if they were trash and they were just getting beat and slapped upside the head every single week, I think we all would be like, man, you know what? It's just not our year. But we see the talent coming up out that tunnel. We see the talent on the field. And we know what these guys are capable of doing because we have watched them throughout the years make play after play. And it's just not working for some apparent reason. I just want them to be able to get out their own way. I would love to see tonight a complete game by the New Orleans Saints. Head coach Dennis Allen said they're going to play better. Let's see, okay? Because you said you was going to clean stuff up. We still cleaning up, all right? You said we need to work on the little things, and you're supposed to be working on little things like tackling, and we still seeing the same thing, right? We still seeing guys miss tackle. We still see them giving up big plays. It just comes a time where you just want people to shut up and just go out there and handle your business. All right. We don't want to hear what y'all gonna do. We ain't trying to hear what you're trying to do. Go out there and do what you need to do in order to win. That's just what it is. Just win the doggone game. Just win the game. How about that? Okay. I mean, you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity to basically to pull off the heist of the century last week. Right? You didn't have none of your star wide receivers. You didn't have your star cornerback, and you still was in the thick of things and could have won that football game. And that could have been, like I said, that could have been one of the biggest heists of the century. But instead, you started sputtering down the stretch, and your conservative play calling cost the team the game, right? But not being aggressive. So hopefully we can get back to being, a little bit aggressive, having a little bit of confidence. Can we please do that? Okay. We doing a podcast, buddy. We doing a live pregame show. Saints playing tonight. Say who that? All right. What is show? Yeah, we doing a podcast right now, buddy. All right. Let's see. What kind of strategy will P. Carmichael use in this game? Look, last week we seen this team rush for over 200 yards. Week before that, we seen a rush for over 200 yards. Now I'm not the smartest man in the room, Duke, but look, I just say go with what's working. You are a running football team. Now, some of you don't want to accept that because you like the finesse and you like the aerial assault. I don't care, right? Just be true to who you are. What they are right now is a running football team. That's what they are. That's what's going to get them the game. That's what's going to wear down these defenses. And that's what's going to open up lanes for these guys that don't have the skill set and the abilities of some of these star wide receivers out there. All right, you got Chris Olave back. He can get his own separation. But some of these other guys, they cannot. All right. So you got to go out there and run the ball. You got to be able to allow the defense to be able to, try to, sell out for the run in order to open up lanes for some of these wide receivers to make plays. That's just where the Saints are right now. You got to be able to run the football. So establishing a run is key. It's worked the last couple of weeks against some teams. I don't want to count the Seahawks, but when I look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they were ranked in the top 5 at stopping a run, right? And you were able to run for 200 yards on them. So if we can just go back to that, establish the run, set up that play action, you'll be able to get some ball, you'll be able to get some passes down the field, and you'll be able to make some plays. All right. Well, if you try to go against what you're actually all about, trying to throw the ball down the field to try to appease everybody that want to see the ball being thrown down the field, then you're going to end up losing. It's just that simple, man. You need to go out there and be able to establish the run in order for you to win, especially when you're playing away. When you're playing away and you got the crowd going and people excited about the game, and you run the football, you establish the run and take the crowd out of the game and control the time of possession. That's how you win the game. Both starting cornerbacks out of it's up for the Saints. Okay. Both starting cornerbacks out. It's up for the Saints. Okay, let's see. The aerial assault only works if the run is going. If we abandon the run, then what are we really doing? Just letting the defense tee off on the quarterback, like seriously. Well, look, if anybody's out here talking about they need to throw the football all over the place, like I said, you just want the Saints to be able to appease you by what you want, because maybe you watching some other team go out there and they quarterback throwing for 300 yards. I want my quarterback to be like Josh Allen. I want the Saints offense to look like the Bills. Look, all I'm saying is you have to be a complete fool to go against what has been working for you over the last 2 weeks. The Saints are a running football team. Y'all just have to accept that. Not everybody. Some people are willing to accept that. Some of y'all just gonna have to. That's how the Saints are going to win this year, by establishing a run and setting up the play action. Because regardless if Jameis Winston is in the game or Andy Dalton, right? Andy Dalton can take advantage of some of those soft spots in the zone. Jameis Winston is one of the best play action quarterbacks, in the league. If you look at his numbers statistically. So by establishing a run, it benefits both quarterbacks. So that's just the way that it is. Okay. That's the way that the Saints are going to be winning going forward. Anybody else out here want the Saints to throw for 300-400 yards? Guess what? It's gonna look good, but guess what? Ain't much winning gonna be going on. Because somebody tell me, I think Jameis Winston threw for 300 yards against Carolina, and that ended up in a loss. So let's just go ahead and try to establish the run and be able to utilize our playmakers, and that's how you're gonna win the football game. TJ, get your popcorn ready, because Kamara and Hill and Olave will go off today. Maybe we get a punt return touchdown from Shaheed too. Well, look, I like the optimism. I like the energy, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope that at the end of this night, I picked the Saints to lose. I hope that everybody in the chat talking about, TJ, you said that the Saints lost, eat crow. All right, guess what? I will pull up to that table and eat the biggest bowl of crow that you will ever want to see. That, I want to be wrong about this situation. I want to be wrong about it. Okay. It just as simple as that. Hold on for 1 second, everybody. All right, sorry about that, folks. Paxton left the refrigerator open, and so it makes a noise, plays a song every time you leave the refrigerator open. So I apologize for that. But anyway, man, I'm gonna take a few more comments and read a few more questions, and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here, man. I see no cornerbacks. We toast burnt. Jameis Winston, third string, and you can't say I'm capping because y'all remember that score. It wasn't great. Dang, this is a short week. This defense will give up 30 at least. Hope we win. TJ, you will make a good coach. I don't know about all that. Shaheed is at return. That will at least be fun to watch. Taysom Hill is a backup quarterback. I think we won't see too much run from him tonight. I highly doubt that. Like, you have to understand the scenario, the situation, Sean. Like, maybe if the Saints were, maybe a 1 or 2 loss team, maybe. But that, like, make no mistake about it, man. They need to win this football game. So you don't need to be out here trying to be conservative. Like, that's the whole point. That's what got us in this position that we're in right now as fans and as onlookers of this team, right? That's what got us to this point. So I don't need them to be conservative. Look, if you go out there, you utilize Andy Dalton and you utilize Taysom Hill, all right? And you say that Jameis is an emergency backup. Look, I'm pretty sure they don't want to admit this. If you're going to talk about, it's a game time decision, it's a game time decision if Jameis comes in. If you can dress this dude, then he's able enough to play. All right. He's able enough to play. Maybe not at the level that he wants to play at, but he's able to. So you don't leave no stone left unturned. You utilize Taysom, you utilize Andy. Look, you utilize everything you have. I don't care if it's that old trick play that worked back in 2007. You find that and try to put that out there. You leave no stone left unturned, because I'm telling y'all, right now, it is do or die. It is do or die. It's just as simple as that. And you do not, look, if you're defending yourself, you do not leave you do not leave the bullets in the chamber. All right. It's just that simple. Okay. You empty the clip. So that's what the Saints need to be doing. Taysom Hill gonna help you win. You go out there and you utilize Taysom Hill. If you got Rashid Shaheed some plays, get him some plays. Okay. This should be what I like to call a gumbo game. All right. This should be like a gumbo game. Right. That's what this should be. Like, you have had a gumbo. It's really, like, people make gumbo differently, right? You're throwing everything up in that thing sometimes, right? That's what you need in this game. This should be a gumbo game, right? You should be throwing everything that you can at the Arizona Cardinals, and based on their schedule and based on their record, they ought to be throwing everything at you as well, all right? Because if they don't throw everything at this team tonight, man, I think that some people ain't going to like the post game. In fact, there are people who actually hunt crow specifically for the meat. Man, that's interesting. I can't remember anybody just sitting around there eating crow. Let's see. For some reason, I feel like Dennis Allen actually pays attention to the fan base and goes out of his way to try to do things to appease us, when he should just be a damn coach and get the job done. Look, if he's paying attention to me, then you don't need to be the head coach. I'm just being that simple. Like, I don't want a player, I don't want a coach to like be like, man, I watch State of the Saints podcast. They say we need to run the football on there. Like, if you're listening to me, man, look, find another coach. Seriously, like, you're supposed to believe in what you're trying to do, right? What you're trying to instill in the organization, what you're trying to build on the field. You have to be able to buy into what you're trying to sell the masses. All right. So if you're looking at shows like, you're looking at podcasts, like you're looking at what media people saying, and then you completely just missed the boat. And you definitely need to be off somebody's sidelines. TJ, God bless you and the family. See you at halftime. God, I appreciate it, man. God bless you and your family as well. The offense has found a little identity in the running the ball, but it's just the defense. There's the ones that's disappointing. Yeah, it's like, okay, you finally found your personality, right? But now the defense wants to wet the bed and go back to 2015 for some apparent reason. If we can get the defense from last year and combine it with the running game, then what you would have is one of the most physical football teams in the NFL, right? But the defense, for some apparent reason, just starting to phone it in. Guys don't want tackle. I don't know what's going on there, okay? Can we get some hungry players out there that's not afraid to make a play, okay? Can somebody go out there and make a play? Can somebody not be looking at, the luggage that they rolled up to the stadium in and realize that I got Louis Vuitton luggage and I got some Prada shoes on, I got a Balenciaga jacket, like, man, I'm straight. Can we get some dudes out here, that's probably still shopping at Fashion Nova? Can we get some people that probably still out here, getting they t-shirt from Old Navy? Can we please get some of those guys, okay? Because for some apparent reason, they seem like they're the hungriest, okay? Can we get some debut album players out there, right? When your debut album first come out, that's when you're at your hungriest, right? That's when you put the hottest 12, 15 songs that you got, right? Can we get some hungry players out there, okay? Once again, like, can we get some guys that want to be great, all right? Instead of guys that just looking at their bank account, on a banking app. Like, can we get some hungry players out there that want to win? Right? The biggest bowl of crow you'll ever see. TJ gonna eat me. Well, I hope so. I hope I'll be eating a big bowl of crow tonight. So TJ, I started cornerbacks of Bradley Roby and Alontae Taylor tonight. I have to check on that. From the last time I saw, it should have, Alontae Taylor was in the rotation. So I don't know if he's the starting cornerback or not. I mean, unless Paulson Adebo. Is Paulson Adebo playing tonight? Because if he is, then he's the starter alongside Bradley Roby. Tonight is a must. This could change our season. None of that scary play calling. Keep your foot on. Guess you're saying gone. Go Saints. Preach, brother. Who that, TJ? I agree. We need this win tonight or it's over. Wait for the playoff hopes. The Saints will win if they follow the Cardinal rule. Let's see. I heard Adebo may be out. Okay. They ruled Adebo out. Just did. Okay. So Adebo is out. So I guess you going with Alontae Taylor and Bradley Roby. My goodness. Gonna need some help, boy. Adebo is out, especially when you got DeAndre Hopkins coming back. Adebo is inactive. Thank y'all so much, man, because like I said, I did this show. I'm doing the show live, and a lot of the things that comes out in real time. So I appreciate you all having my back and letting people know, man. Imagine bringing back Jason David on one end and Josh Bullock on the other. Well, Wednesday shut down passing games down. Man, they ain't shutting down nothing. Absolutely nothing. Man, they ain't.
The next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead.
Yeah, that ain't it. If you talking about getting smoked, you talking about getting toast. TJ, no crow for you. Let's just win no matter how ugly it could look. Well, I tell you what, I'm just keeping a buck. Paulson Adebo been playing so bad, like, does it really matter at this point? Like, so if these guys go out here and the receiver gets the best of them, I mean, it ain't no worse than what we already seen on the outside. So, hey, Lord Hopkins gonna have cornerback 1 and 2 on roller skates. Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll be able to neutralize it, man. Hopefully they'll be able to neutralize it. I mean, look, being on a short week is not just the Saints on a short week. You got Arizona on a short week too. So maybe it's the whoever can be able to make the less mistakes is going to end up winning. I'm gonna stroll back up, man, because I think I may have missed a few people. I think I missed a few people. I'm gonna read a few more of the comments towards the top, because I know I mean my opening statement was a little bit. Let's see. I'm sorry for calling you during your live. My notification didn't go off. Grandmother and I are listening. Well, what's going on, Grandmama? And thank you. That's my actual mom who was commenting right now. So shouts out to my mom. Shouts out to my grandmother. Hopefully they can get us a victory tonight. We'll see. Keno have to say is run the ball, get touchdowns in the red zone instead of field goals. I don't want to see Lutz unless it's an extra point. Well, look, I don't mind seeing Lutz, but I don't want to see him too much, right? Because, I mean, teams play really good defense. You're going to have to settle for field goals, but you want to be able to score in the red zone more efficiently than what they did on Sunday. Man, FA Rookie of the Year, beat a rookie with a Super Bowl ring. I ain't in the constellation prizes. Well, like I'm telling you basically what this dude is on, on the path of being, right? I agree with you. I mean, I mentioned this, like, go back in the State of the Saints archives and they'll show you, like, I'm one of those people. I'm not even content about just talking about the playoffs, right? With this team and what they actually built and what they look like, they supposed to be contending for a Super Bowl championship, right? So I'm in that same boat with you. But what I'm saying is the guy Olave, he means so much to this team right now, especially since Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry has been out, and he's been a game changer. Like he has made some really good plays. He was close to making like a really good catch, against that in that Minnesota game if he would have just dragged his other foot. So this guy's, man, this kid can play, man. He can play, and the Saints are going to need him. in order to win this game. Agree, TJ. Facts, TJ. It says, tell the defense to please tackle and we win easily. Yeah, play defense and we'll win easily. How about when you get your arms around the quarterback or get close to him? How about putting him down on the ground? Because I can tell you now, I mean, Joe Burrow, he can scoot a little bit, but this dude Kyler Murray, man, this man can he can move. He went for over 100 yards this last game versus Seattle. So I've given up big plays in the secondary. My goodness, after what we heard, can they? That's the question. All right, but that's all I have for you. We'll be back at halftime, to cover the Week 7 game in the first half. And, of course, we'll have our post-game show immediately following the Saints versus Arizona game. Rather they win, lose, or draw, we're going to be here, okay? So hopefully I'm eating a bunch of crow. Not, you won't see me eating crow at halftime, but at least hopefully I'll be eating crow by the end of the night. And, the Saints can prove me wrong. But as of right now, I don't know, man. I can't get the Saints this victory, okay? But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. And you can also check out the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook, facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. And you can actually follow me throughout the game. I actually tweet throughout the game at TJAY Jones 8. So if you want to follow me on Twitter to talk about the game and what we're seeing so far, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, okay? Previous episode, once again, available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, FM. Till next time, all I got to say is